And now, live from Oahu, Mike Taylor.
Hey! Is that me, DJ LG? Is that me? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How you boys doing? First question, because I've not done a Cowboys postgame show on YouTube in my life before tonight. I feel like a rookie that, got drafted in the third fucking round and couldn't get active on opening night with three other guys hurt because I'm a bust, because my team sucks. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Anyway, so my first question is, we're not allowed to run highlights, are we? Probably not at the game.
Absolutely not.
That's my first dad joke, because there weren't none, bitches. The Cowboys suck. How you boys doing? 10:32.
Never too late.
Never too late or early. The Cowboys Overreact show has commenced with me and Sam Ladon Freese and DJ LG. This is the first ever. This is historical, boys. This is historical in our careers. This is the Cowboys Overreact, live from the Pickleball Giant Studios. I am in the Pickleball Giant headquarters of Oahu, Hawaii, as we are borderline international. I am in the state that this is as far away as you can get without actually being out of the United States and still being in the United States. And back in Mothership Central Studios in the main Pickleball Giant Studios are Samuel Ladon Freese and DJ LG, and away we go. Okay, we said we'd only go for an hour. Oh, you got Cowboy stuff back there. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Pickleball Cowboy stuff.
I have I could be lying. I look like I was taken hostage by Hamas or something.
Well,
I'm gonna blink the Morse code throughout the show.
Since you're going to immediately go there, it does. And the shirt you chose is kind of, It's a bit darker, so it blends in nicely.
Yeah, it's a nice highlight for my
you
girlfriend's company.
This
is a
just
company
look like a disembodied head.
This is a company far worth supporting more than the Dallas Cowboys organization. Just saying. These people put forth effort. These people know when they're thin at offensive line, so they do something about it. These people don't trade one of the elite wide receivers in the NFL for a bag of dicks. I mean, these people go out and get head coaches that are competent and know what they're doing and then ride the coattails of Aaron Rodgers in his prime. These people here aren't full of nepotism and let their shit-ass sons and daughters run the motherfucking organization into the ground for 25 years. This team here is about winning, and the Dallas Cowboys are not about winning. This is who they are. This is what they do. This is an organization that's to blame. The front office is this. Y'all can overreact to Dak Prescott, and he was horrible all you want. You can come on here and call for Mike McCarthy's firing, and you'd be absolutely justified. But again, and it's stupid because, and I tried, as the years have gone by, Puma, you probably heard me. Hell, I probably said it last year. We always have to talk about this team knowing the caveat that, yes, the Joneses are still in charge of the franchise. Sure. And as long as they're in charge of the franchise, we're forced to have to evaluate and fire off opinions about this team knowing that. And I tweeted earlier after my fourth beer, I wish all of the Joneses were 79 years old. Yes, I was joking. I don't really seriously mean they'd all die, but wouldn't it be cool if they'd sell the team? Oh, wait, that's never going to happen. Their shit-ass grandson's probably going to wind up being the owner when you and I are doing these shows in our 70s, if we are. And we're stuck with the Joneses. But I just want to say it here week one, and I'm not going to say it again the rest of the year because it's a given and it's not going to change. This thing starts with a family that runs a franchise that decided this year to go cheap and not field a competitive team with tons of money in free agency. You've bitched about this all summer, and it just blew up in their faces tonight. And frankly, as animated as I am and pissed off as I am, for me as a Cowboys fan, for them, I love it. They can't possibly receive any more embarrassment. The more embarrassment they get, the better. So I love that they're having a shit night. It just sucks for all of our viewers. It sucks for us that follow this team and continue to support this team year in and year out because we're from this part of the world and it's just in our blood and it sucks. So this starts with Jerry and on down the line of those dudes in the office, man. Not even the draft team looks good tonight. They couldn't get Jalen Tolbert active. What the hell is that? He's supposed to be pretty good. I think he would have made a difference. They're not going to win the game with Jalen Tolbert, but just everything we've worried about all summer just nuked in their faces tonight. This starts with them. That's what I got.
You talk about where it starts. Like, think about how excited we were to do this post-game show. Like, oh, this is going to be a fun. It's like, this will be a fun season. Like, I'm
having a blast.
It's going to be great. Like, who would have thought after the first game of the season we would be talking about a fourth quarter where Cooper Rush played damn near the majority of it, if not more field time.
I was almost thinking they should take Dak out early in the fourth. Not that they would. Just to save him.
Well, I mean, would have been
but they had no chance of scoring any points. By the way, we're waiting to hear word from him. If you see something, let me know.
Yeah, I keep looking.
And I will do the same. He may have broken his damn hand. They may have to start Cooper Rush next week when Cincinnati comes in here, not trying to be 0-2 and kick their ass at Jerry World, and the Cowboys will be 0.
Well, and if that's a broken hand, that's not Cooper Rush just starting week 2. That's Cooper Rush for the extended future. Sure. And that's a season that, I mean, looking around and seeing what the rest of the division did today, that's as close as you can get to a lost season on week 1 as possible.
You mean the division,
and that's where we're sitting.
You mean the division's improved this year?
I'm trying to get it out of the way. I'm trying to get it out of the way. Yeah, the fighting Daybowls up there. The fighting Brian Daboll.
Yeah, stuck on that Miami Dolphins. Brian Daboll was the right choice. That guy can file all the lawsuits he wants, but they got a real head coach now in New York, and they go into Tennessee and get a win because they're better. And the Eagles are good. And I always want to say Redskins, whatever Washington is anymore. God, I'm wearing Redskins colors. Whatever Washington's called these days, they're improved. Despite their shit-ass owner, the Washington Commanders still have an excellent coaching staff and solid players. New York looks to be one of the next good coaches in this league. They have addition by subtraction by running off that wastoid Jason Garrett, and the Eagles are better. And Dallas is, frankly, nowhere near as good as they were last year. And that's 1 week, but my word, that was as bad as it's gotten ever in Jerry Jones's tenure on opening night.
Yeah, I mean, no. Again, like if we're sitting here and getting the results of Dak's hand and its extended timeout, I mean, the 0-3 start that you predicted, it is absolutely in play. I mean, the 0-4, the 1-6, like it might end up being, I've been joking a 10-win season. I mean, flip it. If Cooper Rush is playing the majority of it, I mean, Cowboys are fighting to get to 7. I mean, I cannot tell you how deflating sitting here, because, Steph and I came over and watched the whole game at LG's, and, by halfway through the second quarter, I could just tell Steph was immediately regretting her decision.
Jerry just told the media out front of the locker room Dak will be out several weeks. He needs surgery.
Yep.
There you go.
There it is.
You know what that is? You know what sucks about that, though, is that gives him an excuse. It gives the Joneses an excuse. Don't let their asses off the floor for this. We saw who they were tonight with Dak on the field.
Not only does it give the Joneses an excuse, I mean, in my extensive notes that I sent you a screenshot of earlier.
You sure did.
I had how long does McCarthy last if Dak is hurt? Is that buying him time? Is that giving him the excuse? I'm worried it does. Because then what happens is Jerry can snowball the narrative when it comes to defending McCarthy, and he can say, look, this is a guy that lost Tyron Smith the last week of training camp. This is a guy that lost his, our franchise quarterback in the first game of the season. How can we properly judge him or hold him accountable for, the product on the, I mean, hell, this is a team that lost, as stupid as it sounds to say, this is a team that lost Connor McGovern for what looks like, a high ankle sprain for weeks. Right. And
had you ever heard of, I did make one note. Look, you made a bunch. This is my one note.
Oh, nice. Tell me, what is it?
Tyler Smith. I wrote Farniok with a question mark.
Yeah.
Farniok question mark. McGovern looks bad. That was in the first quarter, and there was no reason to write any more notes the rest of the night.
Farniok's been around a year or two. He was a project guy that they brought in through a developmental. He's someone that he doesn't need to be playing on opening night of an NFL game. That's for sure. But that is with McGovern going out, that does basically leave him with the decision of when Jason Peters is ready to go, probably week 3. Is Peters stepping into that guard position like he slid over in his time, at the end with Philadelphia? Or are you then moving Tyler Smith back to guard and putting Peters at that tackle and letting him learn next to him? But, I mean, again, we're talking about losing Connor McGovern. That just shows you how thin and how ill-prepared that offensive line is. Like, why was Jason Peters brought in 3 days before opening night? 4 days before, why? Like, you
waited all summer. You knew.
Exactly.
You knew.
I know. Like, why, why, if even Jalen Tolbert, he's not even making the roster on opening night. You saw him all through training camp. You knew.
Right.
You knew what he was. You knew he wasn't showing you what you needed to see to be able to depend on him on opening night. You had the time.
$20 million in room.
Still the second most available in the entire league.
And you know what else Dak's injury does? And there's conflicting reports on, the verbiage has changed. What I've read so far is that, Jerry told him he's going to be out some weeks, okay? Didn't say 35 weeks, didn't say 6 weeks, some weeks. It's being reported as several weeks. It's being reported as a few weeks. But Dak needs some sort of surgery on his thumb, and he's going to be out at least 3 weeks. You know what else sucks? Is that had Dak not gotten hurt in that junk time, that changes pretty much all of our show tonight. And because I would have said, look, the front office, you saw that you fucked up royally. Isn't it nice to be able to drop an F-bomb on a Cowboy postgame show? I've wanted to do that for so long.
It was
so many
jarring,
years I wanted to say fuck during the Cowboy postgame show. You fucked up all summer long, but now you see how bad it is. So go out and just go crazy. Go bring in people. Trade somebody. Bring in Cole Beasley, for God's sake. Seriously, you want to win or not? And year in and year out, at least every other year, all that franchise tells me is they kind of want to win. But like the Democratic Party, they're not willing to do everything it takes to win. I want some motherfucking Republican. You're a Republican. I know the Joneses are Republicans. I want some motherfucking Republicans on the field. I want some football Republicans that'll do whatever it takes to win, and this thing just will not do so. But now that Dak's done, all bets are off. Unless they just, or I don't know. It depends on how long he's going to be out. Is he going to be out 2 months? The season's over. If he's going to be out 3 or 4 weeks, okay. Still, go out and surround Cooper Rush with all you possibly can. Jason Peters' ass better be starting at left guard next week. Or slide the kid from Fort Worth back to left guard, which he was going to play before they lost Tyron Smith. Do everything it possibly takes right now to show me that you don't want to throw the season away, provided Dak's not going to be out that long, and that remains to be seen because this all just happened and we're finding out in real time.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, hell, you could even argue if it turns out that Dak is longer, closer to 2 months or a month and a half than 4 or 5 games, then I would be open to hearing you say, well, let's throw Will Grier out there and see if there actually is anything there. Because now these next 5, we know what Cooper Rush is. If we're looking at 8 games without Dak, throw Will Grier out there after Cooper Rush falls on his face after a game or 2. Because I don't think you're not maintaining a 500 record over an eight game span with Cooper Rush as your quarterback.
The other argument to that is no, you absolutely don't throw away the season. Let's say Dak misses 8 games. That means he's back for week 10. Hell, there's 17 games. If you can stay afloat somehow, if the division is not very good, it's certainly improved from last year. I mean, we're overreacting to week 1, but that's what we do.
So again, I mean, yeah.
But I'm just saying. The other thing is you have 50 some odd guys in that room that don't want to be told. They don't want the season to be over. They want to keep playing. They want these. If you've got any sort of pride about you as a player, veterans, damn sure. Go in there and tell Dalton Schultz. I don't know. Tell any veteran. Go in there and look Micah Parsons in the face, who's busting his ass every play. Yeah, we're going to quit on the season. I still think you absolutely do everything you have to do to try to turn this thing around, even if you fire Mike McCarthy in 4 or 5 weeks. Show your players that you don't want to mail in the season. Who knows? Maybe Dan Quinn can come down from the rafters and they catch fire and they, once the schedule gets a little easier in a few weeks, it's a hell of a bad start. It's a tough start with these good teams. Maybe in 4 or 5 games, maybe you're 1-3 or 2-5 or something, but it's not like you're done because it's a long, long season. And if you're going to get Dak back for the second half, you might as well try and beat 500 when he gets back so you can go on a run. Nothing changes with Dak tonight. Nothing. Still do whatever you have to do to win. The problem is they didn't do whatever they had to do to win all summer. That's what sucks. And that's what they can do.
The predictability of us saying for weeks that it's only a matter of time before their weaknesses are exposed. The weaknesses of the playmaker at wide receiver, the weakness of depth at offensive line, and the weakness at backup quarterback for that matter. And did I expect all 3 of those to culminate and show their face on opening night? Absolutely not. But I mean, it's everything we predicted. It's just all right here in the second half of the opening game. I mean, it's that's the frustrating part about it, because again, they have all the money still. You knew it was a possibility of the first 2 of your wide receivers not being able to generate any kind of weapon. I mean, even Dalton Schultz, you look at his box score, and most of that is garbage time as the 15-yard blanket for Cooper Rush on 3rd and 25. So
right.
It's, I don't think you got exactly what you're going to get from Dalton Schultz. He's not going to be a field breaker or any kind of guy that changes a defensive scheme. They just don't have even Pollard was detrimental as much as I do say people rush to Zeke's defense by bringing up his pass blocking ability. Pollard absolutely left Dak out to dry multiple times in his pass blocking tonight.
And that won't block.
And that's a big reason why in the past when Kellen or when the Cowboys have intimated that a big reason Zeke is on the field for those snaps over Pollard is because of that, because he's such a big part of the passing game. There's prime examples of why Pollard has holes in his game that prevent him from taking those snaps away from Zeke. And that, again, shows you how bad a position this team is in, because we're talking about even Zeke. Zeke showed the flashes tonight, and he does this every month week one. Let's go back to Jerry again, comments from the summer where he comments from last week, Jerry saying this team's only going to go as far as Zeke can carry them. on the weak
guy they may cut in the offseason.
Exactly. On the weak offensive line that we're sitting here talking about has no depth. The whole philosophy is absolutely rudderless right now. I mean, it is.
Right.
It is.
It broke down and it sank. In one game, it sank.
In the biggest spotlight, it sank as fast as it possibly could.
Yeah, everything was a disaster. Dak was awful. But again, I don't want to, and he's now out for God knows how long. I do not want to get bogged down with Dak's not the guy talk. He is the guy. What I mean by that is he's not going to be gone. He has a long-term contract. They pay him $40 million a year. The cap hit on them it's stupid for me to, I'm making a point. It's stupid for me to even discuss it because of the cap hit they would take, the money they would take. They couldn't afford to go get you're going to go get a quarterback better than Dak Prescott? Cool, because he's going to need $40 million too, because that only guys available that are better than Dak, they all need to get their $40 plus million a year too. You can't do that. Let's stop this. Dak is about he's about the 30th issue they have.
All that being said,
look what Aaron Rodgers did today with a shitty off. Yeah, he was terrible tonight. Yeah. And I almost wonder if it didn't get in his head. He knew early on, wow, we suck. And that was not a good look for him. And I hope I'm wrong, but if he was pouting on the inside because it sucked and was out there and that he let that affect his play, then shame on Dak for tonight. So I don't want to let him off the mat for tonight's game. But I do not want to waste our time here discussing why they should move on from him. They're not. You had a rookie that they don't even want to be playing left tackle. You had a guy I had never heard of until Puma just told me he's been around for a year, play left guard, because Connor McGovern, who's not very good either, got hurt. A spare center in Tyler Biadasz, who's just a guy. The best right guard on the planet, and you see that he can only do what he can do. And then you've got Cibolo's own Terrence Steele, who turned in the worst game by an offensive tackle that they have had since the Dak 7 or 8 sack game in the whole Atlanta 3 or 4 years ago. That was abysmal. That guy's been pretty good for them. He's the reason why they decided to let La'el Collins go and run him out there as starter tonight, and he looked like he never played the game. So the point being, Tony Pollard can't block worth a shit. Zeke Elliott is really good in September, but his age will show here in October. You've got undrafted free agents starting at wide receiver for you. God bless San Antonio's Dennis Houston. That kid's got no play. He's got no business running routes in prime time while the game's on the line against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the regular season. I'm sorry, but Dak's got a lot of excuses, y'all. He just does. So I don't want to get bogged down all night with anti-Dak talk when there's 45 other things that are on fire that this thing has control of and chose not to call the fire department. Leave Dak alone. That's it.
Going straight to your point, do you put any stock or where do you what was your reaction to that first possession tonight where immediately Kellen digs into his wild-ass bag of circus tricks, and we have the 2 trick plays within, 5 or 6 offensive plays of each other. That to me kind of quickly told me, like, you're admitting on the 3rd or 4th play of the game that your offense does not have the weapons to mount a traditional offensive attack. I mean, you're immediately digging. And it wasn't a surprise, and that's why to immediately go with another one on that same drive, right thereafter. It's like there's no surprise. Like, you're just that kind of, to me, set an awkward tone for the offense. Looking back on it, because there's like that was the only way it seemed like they were going to try to surprise Tampa Bay to get a quick head start against them. And granted, they ended up getting their only points of the game, the field goal out of that on that first possession. But just to have to, there's a metaphor for somewhere in the fact that they go to 2 trick plays on the first possession to score their only points of the game, because, again, the lack of weaponry, traditional weaponry, that's going to scare any defense in this league. I mean, even CeeDee Lamb had a couple drops and just is not shifting a defense and without Amari Cooper on the other side. I mean, this thing is very similar to the position it was in before they traded for Amari. I mean, there's just not enough. There's not enough to shift the scheme, and Dak is not shown so far that he's the kind of guy like Aaron Rodgers, like you were talking about, that can grab 3 dudes off the street and do what Tom Brady has done his whole career. I mean, granted, he's the GOAT, but still, I mean, Dak hasn't shown he can do that. And that's what the Cowboys are expecting out of him right now. And now they're stuck with Cooper Rush and the guys off the street that they were expecting Dak to be able to elevate, like Dennis Houston.
Right. And it's not like I'm this big, giant Dak Prescott homer. I'm simply keeping it real on Dak. I think you and I do a good job of that, despite all the silliness. Dak is not a guy who can just – he is a guy that needs everything to go well. And look how shitty he was tonight. And it just seemed like it was a little bit mental for him. He can't deal with too many things that go wrong. And let's just say this, too. He's been here 7 seasons. There have been weeks where he's pulled games out of his butt and was the best guy they had, even when they got beat. But he's not going to just score points. He doesn't have the ability to just, well, we're just going to score anyway, even though I don't have any guys. He can't do that. I mean, Romo was a bit better than Dak was when it came to being MacGyver out there. Dak needs everything to be good. And when everything's, he doesn't have to have everything perfect. But first of all, no quarterback in the league wins with this offense. I don't think Tom Brady does. But Tom Brady wouldn't be stupid enough to sign with the Cowboys, so it's not his problem. There's a few guys out there that might have scored some more points than Dak would have tonight, but Dak really is a guy that he can't deal with more than a couple of things that are off because it affects him, which is why he's not elite. He's about the 9th or 10th best guy in the league. He's middle of the second-tier guys in the league. That showed desperation by the Keebler elf tonight, Kellen Moore. I don't know what that was. Clearly, they planned to do that shit. He didn't just decide that 30 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah, because that's all scripted out.
Did you not work on that? Did you not?
Well, that whole possession is all scripted out.
Yeah, and it was terrible. They scored those 3 points despite all that. Dak had to pull those 3 points out of his ass. Though.
Maher looks dependable again. Had some deep kickoffs.
Thank God for the punter. Hell, Tampa Bay, thank God for the defense. Tampa Bay should have scored 38 in this game, but Tampa kept getting long fields because the punter's good. And Maher kicked a 50-yarder. Yay. Way to go, man. All right, it is Cowboys Overreact from the Pickleball Giant Studios. Please subscribe to our thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We love you hard for doing that. You can jump into the Super Chat. You can go on to buymeacoffee.com/Mike Taylor Show and help my drinking habit, help Puma's cigarette habit, and get us through what's going to be 16 more weeks of this, baby. We got to do 16 more of these. Having fun. God almighty. What else? So McCarthy, he's a lame duck guy. What sucks, and what sucks for Mike is that none of this is really on him. But he's not done anything because of it. That's the challenge you have when you decide to become the head coach of the Cowboys. You work for the Joneses. I don't feel bad for you. You signed up for this. but you still have to get things done despite them. He stood there all night and just watched. He was Jason Garrett out there last night. He was Wade Phillips out there just standing there. The whole night, just freaking standing there. I mean, my own, look, Tom Landry just stood there too. So I don't want to say that I want to see a guy who's all fired up and shit, but I mean, he's not calling plays. He's not calling defense. What exactly is Mike McCarthy doing? So he's clearly not helping the cause. I don't know that he's hurting anything. He's just kind of there.
Well, what makes it even worse?
And they're going to blame him. They're going to blame him though and fire his ass here in 6 weeks if this thing doesn't get any better in a hurry. What's that?
What makes it even worse for him is the only way this thing's going to stay competitive is if the defense continues to hold teams to 19 points, at giving them any chance of winning.
But
and if
they're
that,
not.
well, but if that does happen, well, then Dan Quinn's your guy that immediately, when they lose a bunch of 17, 19 games or 21, 17 games, and the defense is still playing well, then McCarthy's out and Dan Quinn. If you're Dan Quinn, think about this though. If you're like we were talking about the other day, like how many weeks, is McCarthy going to make it? If Dan Quinn takes over week 10,
right?
If you're Dan Quinn, how do you feel about the interim tag when you already know how much he wants to bring in Sean Payton anyway?
Right. So
even Dan Quinn is a lame duck.
There's no guarantee you get Sean Payton. I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's why.
That's the way the NFL's wonky with egos and such, and it's the way the players handle the thing in the room, which is why, see, if you do go ahead and fire McCarthy, as apparent as it is to us on the outside that it probably wouldn't hurt anything, the message to your veterans is they've quit. And I don't know what Dan Quinn's going to do in the interim that'll make the offense any better. The defense is going to wear out. They can't be called upon to carry the thing all year. And, oh, by the way, Tom Brady was pissed half the night tonight because Tampa Bay didn't execute the way they should on offense. They were sloppy. And I thought your boy Collinsworth, who sounded like he was really sick, which he was, I thought he made a good point. Because no one's doing anything in the preseason, the offenses are the ones that are sloppy in the first couple of weeks of the season now. That's been predicted by people. Tampa Bay's offense will get better than they were tonight. That's a damn good offense with Tom. So it'll be we're going to get a frustrated, pissed off Cincinnati team that is going to be pissed off at its kicker that they lost a game today. They're going to come in here and they damn sure don't want to go 0-2, and their offense will execute better. This defense is going to start breaking. It's going to start giving up points, and it won't be their fault. But you can't anticipate they're going to hold Tom Brady, anybody, to 4 field goals every game. They're going to give up touchdowns, and it's going to get ugly real quick, man. I just don't everything, and I guess that's the running theme of this show tonight. Is all of our worries exploded in our face tonight? It wasn't even like one thing this week and one thing next week.
Exactly.
No
trickle.
It was just a giant zit, and there's pus in there.
Okay.
It's like if someone had something on their ass that builds and builds for years, and they know it's there, but it's just there to just fester.
How's that toe doing? How's that toe doing? No,
look, it's like a toe. Look, it's like a cyst on a toe.
Oh, God, get it out of here. Save that.
At some point, that's not gonna just ooze out slowly. It's gonna explode, and I'm gonna wind up in the hospital. And that's what happened to them. I'll be fine. That cyst exploded tonight at Jerry World. And this thing, all of a sudden at 0-1, just look. Now, it's the NFL. Lots of stuff happens. Dak will not play that poorly again. Hell, maybe it's a blessing in disguise that he misses 5-6 weeks. It gives them a chance to work on some new shit, get a little bit better. It buys him time. And then maybe he shows up and plays pretty good the rest of the season. You can't give up on the season one weekend, no matter how bad it looks. They've got to keep playing. They got to field another team next week and go for it again. Yay. God.
As much despair as we appear to be in sitting here talking about it, At least we are not the Dolphins fans that return to their vehicles to be burned down outside the stadium.
Well, no, the cars aren't on fire. You're right.
Did you
How about
see that one? Good Lord.
That's my Dolphins. They kick ass and set fires in the parking lot. That's how we do it.
The first year you declare yourself a Dolphin fan, they literally have a dozen cars light on fire outside of the stadium on opening day.
You pick up on that?
Yeah.
You pick up on that?
That's great, isn't it? Right. No coincidence.
It's almost like I paid someone to start a fire in the parking lot just to initiate my Dolphins fandom. God, they look good. Thank God.
No, so it's not that bad.
Eric's in here, super chat. Oh, a $9.99 contribution. Thank you, Holmes.
Thank you, brother.
Taylor, if you could make personnel decision before next week's game, Romo in his prime or Dak? See, he wants to do hypothetical Dak talk. I mean, I don't know. Romo in his prime, and you only lose by 3 and not 10? I mean,
Chad Hutchinson, Drew Henson, or Dak? Light them up. Let us hear from you. 210.
Eric, I appreciate the donation, homie, but what's the point doing these hypotheticals? Dak does not suck. Tonight, he was terrible. He does not suck.
You want a fun fact on how terrible he was? Not
really, but go ahead.
At the 10-minute mark of the third quarter, take a guess on how many completions he had.
6, maybe?
6 completions. Yep. 6 completions at the 10-minute mark of the third.
God. Dude, it's all bad. So it's funny because, again, like I'm arguing you can't quit on this team, and Jerry's not going to go firing McCarthy now, although I tweeted that out just because he's going to get fired eventually anyway.
No, I think this this buys him time, especially because it's going to be melded into the time. It's going to be melded into with the Tyron Smith injury as well.
I thought Eddie the Great, 84, had the point of the night, dude. And I literally laughed out loud.
Oh, let's hear it.
He suggested that perhaps, and this goes back to something you and I have discussed lately on our millennial segments that we do from time to time. He suggested maybe McCarthy's simply quietly quitting.
Oh,
that's what he's doing by standing there and doing nothing. He's just doing the minimum. He's doing press conferences, and that's about it.
Well, Jerry quietly fired Jason Garrett for a decade and continued to let him work there with minimum
He did quietly
raises.
fire him, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's only appropriate.
And I mentioned Terrence Steele, the kid from Cibolo. So I had family members of him reach out to me.
Oh, God, I saw that. I'd forgotten about this.
Terrence, hey, I don't want to say who it was. Terrence is going to have a camp in Cibolo. I think it was probably going to be, I don't know where it was. Maybe it's Steel High. I don't remember. Would it be, where his marketing team, could you get Terrence to come on and promote his camp he's going to be having? Heck yeah, I'd love to have Terrence Steele on. That'd be a great 10 minutes killer. And this person and his family even gave me his cell phone number. And I sent him a very professional text. Hey, I got this phone number from, I don't want to say. She said that you're going to have the camp. They'd love you to come on. She's handling your marketing. Hey, man, just give me a shout back, and we'd love to have you on. Ghosted me. I felt like a jilted lover or a stalker. I wind up sending the guy 5 messages. But they weren't long. They were just quickies. Hey, man, give me a shout if you have any time to do it. Love to have you on. Hey, man, just following back up from my text from yesterday on Thursday. I know you got the camp coming up Saturday. Would love to have you on. And he never replied to me. So the hell with that kid. That's what he gets for ghosting the Taylor show. That's what he gets. He's lucky his car wasn't on fire in the parking lot tonight. God.
Well, it's at the expense of the fandom. So, I mean, yeah. Yes.
My boy Mac Ingles in here, the Fort Worth Star Telegram columnist who we all love. Been fortunate enough to watch a lot of shitty Dallas Cowboys games in person. What I saw tonight was special. It was old school Dave Campo era magic.
Yes.
It's that bad.
Okay.
They're that bad again. All of a sudden. They go from division title to this bad all of a sudden again.
Note here, this is like right there halfway through the third quarter. No energy in the building. Absolutely zero energy. It sounded literally sounded like a spring training practice on a backfield. I mean, just absolutely no energy, no crowd noise. You could tell everyone was out of it. And then, obviously when the Dak injury went down, that you could hear the footsteps of people trailing out of there. I mean, it's first of 16. It's the first. It's first of 17.
I know we got 16 more of these things. It's it's funny because it couldn't have been more of a debacle. How great was it that kid with that massive leg, the punter for Tampa, hit the scoreboard? Didn't that just kind of add to the buffoonery and symbolize what is most important to the Joneses? Going back to my original argument that this is completely on their asses.
Oh yeah,
because they're so interested in having their clown show. They're so interested in their reality TV program. They're so interested in showing their ass and getting World Cup games and big fights and concerts, which is great because that's who they are, that winning is not number one for them. It just is not, and it has not been for a while. They tried to remember, we're going to get Romo friendly so we can do some winning. Jerry wanted to win a Super Bowl before Romo retired, but now I just think it's full-blown. Let's just show our asses. I'm worth $8 billion. I'm number one every year with Forbes. I don't have to win a title. I'm 79. I'll probably not live to see a championship. So to hell with it. Let's just beat P.T. Barnum until I die. And that was so symbolic of what's number one to them with that ridiculous, you talk about the shitty atmosphere. It starts with that damn scoreboard. It totally takes away from the atmosphere at that stadium. And that's just not me overreacting to one night's loss. I've said this since the night I walked in there. I went to the first game ever played there in the preseason against Tennessee, and the punters in the pregame were hitting it on purpose because it was funny. And a ball hit the damn thing in the middle of the game that night. And I thought, this is so gargantuan. It's so over the top. It's so Russian oligarch super yacht. This symbolizes what's important. It's a metaphor for what's more important to them because it damn sure ain't winning because they knew they had weaknesses going back to this year. They knew they had issues. They knew that there was pus in that zit getting ready to explode, and they chose not to do anything about it. That is absolute bullshit.
Well, yeah.
Why is there a dating app advertising on our show right now, LG?
That's a sign of success. That's when you're getting spammed by a sex bot. That means you're doing something right. You're drawing a lot of eyes.
Do not go to 69mega.com. Leave that alone. LG blocked that shit.
But going back to what Mac said, obviously it's not the same, but I immediately when it was like 11:20 left in the fourth, and the Cowboys are punting instead of going for it on like 4th and 8 from, granted their own 35-ish, but still, I immediately thought that's a Campo move. That's a final year Campo coaching decision right there.
No question. Absolutely.
You're down 16. You've generated nothing. You've got 2 possessions with getting 2-point conversions. Like the chances of you punting right there and still winning that game are dramatically decreased giving up that possession. I mean, it doesn't really matter whatever field position you're giving up. It's the possession you're giving up, the opportunity to extend it. And that immediately, whenever we were sitting here, I was like, that's a Campo decision.
Yeah. Okay. So Dak took the podium tonight, which is a good sign. If he were like crazy hurt, I don't think they would have. I think they ran him out there just to have something to go to bed on tonight that's somewhat positive. Dak addressed the media and says, I was told it was much cleaner than it could have been. He will have surgery, and he says he's been told by the doctors he'll miss, quote, several weeks. Doesn't know what that means. Says he plans to help teammates in every which way during his recovery. Whatever I can do to help the team in this role. And he's Cooper Rush's new best buddy. And he says it's not the worst thing that's happened to me. It's just a bump in the road. I will keep moving forward. Offense is not hitting the panic button after one night. Yeah, good luck. You don't have to hit the panic button. That's not going to make good fucking football players walk through your door. You can go out there and bust ass all year long and not hit the panic button. I don't know how they score more than 20 points. with the way they're constructed because that franchise has let him down. I used to say this after Romo's games when poor Romo, as down on him as I got toward the end of his career. I used to feel bad for Romo because he'd have to go out there and address the media. And he's out, and you could just see it all over his face. He's just, you know what he wants to say? Wouldn't it be great for once if the face of the players, because the face of the franchise is damn sure not Dak, and it wasn't Romo, it's that idiot up in the owner's box. How great would it be if Dak just one night goes, you know what? The Joneses are awful. We are hamstrung every week by our managers. How great would that be?
The last guy to...
What are you going to do? What are they going to do? Not pay you? He's guaranteed. He's guaranteed.
To do anything close to that was Jimmy. And
Jimmy got
out.
sent at the door.
Exactly.
So what? And probably had and I know he's had a much happier life since.
Sure.
I used to say I hope Romo goes to free agency so we can go somewhere and do some actual winning and shove it up their asses. Some of the same exact things that I used to say about poor Tony Romo, I'm now saying about poor Dak Prescott, who is not elite, but he's better than what they give him. He's better than he deserves better. He's a good quarterback. If Dak were playing in L.A. last year with the Rams, I mean, is Matthew Stafford better? Doesn't Dak at least win a couple of playoff games with the same roster, all things being equal, with the Rams last year?
Matthew Stafford didn't look good Thursday night against Buffalo.
He's got elbow issues, although he did look bad. Yeah. I feel bad for Dak. I do. And so the last thing I'm going to do is bag on the guy when he's nowhere near even top 10, one of their problems. Eric's back in here with more super chat money. Thank you, Eric. You keep putting that $9.99 in there. I'm going to read all them some bitches. Oh, the chat went away. Make it come back up there, LG, when you get a chance. Oh, here we go. I'm a longtime Thunderdomer, Twitter follower, Token Skins, Commanders fan. My point is, problem is not Dak. Hell, I would love to acquire Dak for my sorry-ass team. Coaching is the issue. Ownership is the issue. General management is the issue. And it's funny because this is so ironic. We're right back here to square one with this game of the Dallas Cowboys Candyland. Because for the last couple of years, Jerry has taken a hands-off approach. You and I have done segments on this. Jerry has laid off some. I think Steven's not as terrible as Jerry is a GM. You and I have done segments on how it's clear they've turned a lot of the decision-making over to Will McClay, the director of scouting, and he does all the drafts. And they're a damn good drafting team. I don't know about this third-string wide receiver's ass who couldn't get healthy tonight, but you can't win them all. But the last 4-ish years, the Jerry Jones crap that infiltrated all those Dave Campbell-led teams has not been nearly the problem the last few years. It hasn't been as bad. Jerry's gotten older, and he's taken more of a mascot's role, and that's been good. But then all of a sudden we get to this offseason, it wasn't Will McClay's decision not to spend any money, not to replace people. It wasn't Will McClay's fault that they traded Amari Cooper for a bag of dicks. I can't think of any other analogy. I'm just going to go with bag of dicks.
The worst thing, it wasn't even a bag of dicks because it wasn't multiple guys. It was a dick. It was one swinging dick who can't even make it as their swing tackle.
It's insane.
Well,
so it's like we're all the way back here to Jerry Jones screwing this team up, and usually it's because of the things he was doing. This year it's because of the things that he did not do, sitting on his ass while this team got worse around him, and he just let it happen. I guess they're just trying to save up max money to give to Micah Parsons here in a couple of years, I guess. But what are they going to throw a season away because they don't want to ruin their cap because they want to be able to re-sign Micah Parsons? Maybe they're willing to do that because to Jerry, selling Micah's jerseys are more important than winning games.
But that argument doesn't even hold up because you could still keep Amari Cooper this year. You still have enough money where he would have still been under your cap right now currently, and you could have gotten out of his contract at the end of this year in the same way you got out of it this year with even less dead money. It's not like they were. Yeah. It's not like they were. Up against the gun to make the decision to get out of Amari Cooper's contract. That was a absolute decision based on, as Jerry told us, we made our offseason decisions based on availability. He didn't like that Amari missed games last year because of the vaccine. He didn't like that Amari missed plays in final series, against division rivals a couple years ago. Like, he obviously, availability was his keyword that he attached to and that the pettiness of that alone right there describes you what kind of situation this whole thing is without a future vision, because
winning ain't first.
Winning ain't first. Winning ain't
being
first.
Fun, being rich, being popular, and holding grudges against people are first. All right, let's talk about a company that has done nothing but succeed since it started. What a great idea that Pickleball Giant had. They saw that there was a niche, and they saw that sport is not going to be a niche for a long time. It's going to wind up being a huge sport. Matter of fact, and I saw this, and I've seen this in several data studies, the fastest rising sport in America is pickleball. And so Pickleball Giant's like, there aren't any stores in San Antonio, Texas, or the surrounding area that are just selling pickleball gear. You can probably go get a paddle at so-and-so for overinflated prices, but they get like a little tiny corner section. They decided to start a store. It's just exclusive pickleball stuff. Puma and I went over to Pickleball Giant. It's right there off at 1604, just at Rogers Ranch. And we got to learn the game because they actually have a pickleball practice court in the store that you can go in there and learn the rules of the game and work on it. It's different. I thought it would be easy. I thought I'd be awesome at it. That's for old people. Look super easy. Shit. I got humbled that day trying to chase that ball around, and I really took a liking to pickleball. And look who is the official studio sponsor of Cowboys Overreact all these weeks and months later, Pickleball Giant. Their name says it all. They do pickleball right there at 2711 North Loop 1604 near the Rogers Ranch exit on the access road. So if you need pickleball stuff, and many of you do because a lot of y'all are picking it up, it's the quickest rising sport in the country, go get your gear at Pickleball Giant at 1604 and Rogers Ranch. All right. You want to, Puma and I, being the 21st best show in the country, didn't have any production talk before this. Do you want we can make this all fancy and stuff and do like scoreboards, or we can just read a few more messages and get the hell out of here because it's getting late and we've been on the air almost an hour. What do you want?
I've got a few things that I starred just as observations, whether they be, actual
Puma's observationals. Let's get that sponsored. Who wants to sponsor that?
Yeah, please.
By the way,
sponsor.
We're open for business. Pickleball Giant would love to have some company. Right now, they're the only sponsor we got. This is week one. Anybody want to jump in here? We'll do whatever you want. Puma takes his shirt off. It's the beauty of this show. It's ours. We can do whatever we want. We can do scoreboard report. We can do the douchebag of the game. I tweeted out earlier before the game, let me know who do you think the swing king of the game is going to be, or the guy that should get cut tomorrow is going to be. We can do that too, but we're open for business, so hit us up. So for here's an unsponsored edition of Puma's Observationals.
Yeah, hopefully the last of the unsponsored edition of my observations here live from
Puma hat that was made
from the Puma cave.
Let's get Puma a hat that's been made within the last 10 years, maybe.
I'm just now breaking.
Kidding. I love that.
I'm just now breaking this one in. I think it's just now really taking a liking to my. These are several things. Some actually pertaining to the action on the field. Others just things that caught my eyes or stopped me down or had us discussing here back at LG's. Where do you stand on the lacks of the position player number rule? Like the allowance of linebackers and defensive backs and the unordinary position, the unordinary numbers for the positions you've always seen that you've gotten used to.
It doesn't bother me at all, and I rarely think about it, and I know that Brady didn't like it, and most broadcasters don't like it. It's harder to call the game. See, it doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of cool. I was a single-digit number man. I wore number 6. All the great New York Yankees all wore single digits. I think it makes you look like a badass. Do you not like it?
No, I'll do you one. I wore number 40 at home and number 4 on the road just to throw off scouting reports.
Oh, I love that. Oh, you told me that before.
I had
Do you not
numbers.
like that? I think it's cool.
No. It's specifically I saw that first time on defense when I saw Jordan Lewis at number 2 and Anthony Brown at number 3, and I just forgot. I was thinking 27 and 30, and it just for a second it tripped me up a little bit. I like it. It looks more. It looks more like the college game. It looks more like, what you see on Saturdays, basically.
Jay D'Angelo's in here. It's time to tank for Chad.
Yeah, I saw my dad chime in and support that. Yeah.
You know what sucks? You know what sucks ass about this is that all the years past when it became quite apparent that the Cowboys were going to suck and disappoint, at least we had Tim, Tony, and Manu to rescue our winner. Not so much, buddy. Not so much. We'll do a segment on Manu tomorrow, and I'm just going to tell you right now, Puma, prepare to make fun of me because it won't be fun for me to talk about that man tomorrow.
I figured that'll be an emotional struggle.
I didn't even tweet one time during the speech last night. Didn't do it.
I noticed that. It was too raw.
It was my time.
Yeah,
that was all for me.
You had to just take that in for what it was. No.
So we don't even have the damn Spurs to save us this year. What else?
A guy that obviously I have taken a liking to early here in his career. I'm always watching Micah Parsons on the field. Early in that fourth quarter, there was a play where he chased down Leonard Fournette from across the field, but the way he landed on his shoulder, and I immediately had flashback to Quinn Ewers. Exactly, and he was touching it. I immediately had flashback to Ewers yesterday and just thinking because again, this was before McGovern, I think, had even gotten hurt. I mean, I'm sitting here expecting the absolute horrific injury to someone on this roster tonight, and I thought it was Micah Parsons right there. But then later in the second quarter, when Brady had that deep throw to Mike Evans on the sideline, Evans turned and caught, shoestring as he was rolling out of bounds. When they, as we were sitting here watching it live, all of us were you could see Micah Parsons get absolutely chip popped by that tight end on that opposite side.
Yeah, he got beaten up bad tonight.
See, and that made me start to think, that's something that as he makes more of the appearances on national media and starts to, really build that, lion, what does he call himself? The Lion King, Lion brand, whatever it is that he's got.
He's going got the $100,000 lion necklace or whatever.
Exactly. He's going to have to watch for more of those chip blocks like that. Because, it's perfectly legal. And that dude got a clean shot on him, knocked him on his ass. One of the first times I've seen Micah Parsons actually get lit up like that.
Michael Gelkid, who was my favorite cover on Twitter for the Dallas Morning News when it comes to Cowboys. Cowboys safety Jaron Kearse, the team's most versatile defensive back and week one defensive captain, exited the stadium tonight on crutches. It is a knee injury. He will have an MRI tomorrow. So Dak Prescott, not the only team leader injured tonight. It does not look good for Jaron Kearse, who has become one of the most steady, dependable dudes they got on defense. And it's going to happen. It's the
just
NFL,
add it
man.
to the list. And again, add it to the list.
It's a league, man.
We got 3 weeks worth of injuries in one night, basically.
Sure, and if we can get them all out of the way now, maybe they'll go on that big run in the second half. You'll see. We're going to get it done. You just watch.
Or they'll at least go on a run to get back close to 500 and one game out of a wild card spot that they'll lose on
for everybody.
Mike's
week
my 18.
Guy. He's coming back next year. I guarantee it. And he's my guy, Mike McCarthy. I ride with him. Dax. Yeah.
Couple
sucks.
And
the Dak injury gets their ass off the hook. Because now they got an excuse to lose, and it sucks. What else?
See, the Tyron injury opened the door. The Dak injury now just full steam ahead with that narrative. No, in the fourth quarter, there was an awkward exchange, and I wondered how this was going to go because, Tirico knew with Collinsworth, and obviously Collinsworth voiced the way it is, so that just made this exchange even more awkward. Tirico, when he was describing the, midweek interviews they do with the players, he described it as their interview with Tom Brady as, oh yeah, we were hanging out with Tom the other day, and immediately Collinsworth, straight called him out for it. He was like, Tom was forced to be there. And then Tirico came back with this awkward, like, he liked it. And all of us were sitting here just being like, that was weird. Like, that's a weird, you could tell he was like, fuck you for calling me out for saying we were hanging with him.
Tirico's an arrogant dude.
Big time.
Oh, my God.
That was the first sign of any kind of subtle back and forth between them, because that totally screamed to me of, don't correct me on that. Like, I'm going to colloquially say that we were hanging out the other day.
I think I can speak on this as a man in America under 6 feet tall. That bitch has got Napoleon syndrome, big time. You know what? They had it, since you brought that up. I thought there was a weird exchange. Go ahead. We're having an awkward moment. What?
He also tried to force himself into a coworker's car at a company party one time as she was trying to get to the valet.
He's a skirt chaser for sure. Yeah. So there was an awkward exchange between those two talking about Brady and Brady's decision, and Brady's been through some stuff, which we all been told he's got marital issues.
And he's going to be joining the media maybe next year.
Yeah, taking your job and replacing your punk ass. No, he's going to fight. He's going to fight.
Exactly.
I thought Collinsworth hesitated because I think Collinsworth may know a little bit that he's not supposed to say publicly.
Yeah, there was definitely something there.
Brady's giving Chris some info. And it sounded to me like Collinsworth was a bit put out that Tirico even brought it up at all.
I completely agree.
Did you get that? Yeah, I got that.
That's where it feels like we were watching, we're seeing their relationship develop of, what they, without talking about it, are comfortable bringing from off air to on air. And I feel like both of them have kind of a couple times crossed lines that have subtly been snapped back at so far in the two games that they've been together.
Al Michaels got smart and got out of there. Now he's doing Thursday nights with Herbie.
With Herbie,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, this whole reshuffling of the deck. It's funny that ESPN arguably goes from having the worst presentation product with Monday Night Football ever in the history of Monday Night Football, and now they have the one constant pairing together on their mainstream Monday Night Football broadcast. Like they
figured it out.
Yeah, they went from worst product to now not only best product, but the one that the audiences are most familiar with, that have the most timing, years of chemistry.
Aikman was ready to leave Fox. Aikman, in the last few years, a couple of times a year, has taken shots on the air at Fox. Just not happy with some stuff, taking shots at colleagues. We all know he hates Skip Bayless. You got into it with that idiot Doug Gottlieb. Aikman was openly on the air criticized that. He criticized, why are we doing this playoff game? We should be doing this. That's the game we should be doing. Remember that? Oh my God,
I do.
He didn't give a shit. Yeah, it was great.
Well, Love again, it. I mean, when you have that kind of leverage, you can drop those not so subtle comments on company airwaves. The only other thing I have is in turning attention to what the advertisers wanted me to buy or what they want me to spend my money on. I don't know if I'm ever going to go to a wing place and order a pizza. Like that just made me think. It's like my grandma used to anytime we would go to the Mexican food restaurant in town, she would order the burger, and the burger was awesome. It was a great burger, but it's like, you're at a Mexican food restaurant. Like you can get a burger so many other places in town. This is one of the only places you can get enchiladas and tamales.
Cafe Don Juan on the west side makes a mean lasagna.
And that's what I'm. And that I understand because, again, like the burger at Chachi's was amazing. It was one of best burgers in town.
Nationally televised company, maybe not so much.
Yeah, nationally televised company. I don't know if I'm getting pizza from you when I'm going to get wings and beer at your establishment to watch the game. And then last one, did you catch the Joe Montana cameo in the Quantum Leap teaser?
I was busy on Twitter most of the commercials.
Okay. As someone, LG and I shared this. We were sitting here as we were watching it. Quantum Leap was many hours have been spent in our lives watching reruns of Quantum Leap episodes. And apparently, had no idea, but apparently they're coming out with a remake of it on NBC. Just to show you what kind of state network television is in. I mean, Quantum Leap, I don't even think, it's not like it is some massive success story. I mean, it's cult following. I can't imagine it's going to get much actual traction as it comes back. But there was saw Joe Montana in the cameo, and it made me half a step closer to watching 5 minutes of the premiere, but I probably still won't get there.
Once again, it's funny you mentioned Joe Montana, because I was also texting tonight back and forth with random family members, and it was like, Brady is so far and away the greatest quarterback that's ever done this. It's like whoever second is, whether it's Montana or Elway or Unitas, the distance between Brady at 1 and whoever's number 2 is the greatest distance between a 1 and 2 in sports. Like Messi or Ronaldo, Kobe or Jordan, Babe Ruth or, I don't know, Barry Bonds or Willie Mays. The quarterback position in the NFL, the difference between I get maybe Tiger, but see, Jack Nicklaus is closer to Tiger than anybody else is closer to Tom Brady.
We've done this exercise before. It's Tom Brady. It's incredible. That's the answer.
It's unbelievable how the distance, especially at his age, and the passes he was throwing tonight, he may not be able to throw it 80 yards anymore, but I think that it also makes Dak look worse because the ball that Brady throws in the same game as Dak, oh my God.
Well, and remember,
it added to Dak's terrible night.
Remember when we were worried about the Tampa Bay offensive line and how, Brady was going to be, Brady was under pressure.
He was screaming at him tonight.
He was.
He got pissed a little bit.
Micah had the 2 sacks on 3rd down that, stopped drives and forced field goal attempts. So, they absolutely, but at the same time, they dominated the line of scrimmage in the rushing game. Leonard Fournette broke 100 yards rushing early in the 3rd quarter. He was routinely on 1st and 10 rushing for 7 or 8 yards. They were constantly ahead of the sticks. And then when they did get behind it, Brady with the timing, that's another thing we haven't mentioned. I brushed off the addition of Julio Jones to that roster. The way they're using him, even with the jet sweeps, the 2 or 3 different, jet sweep reverses with Julio Jones. And then, the obvious, did you hear Brady's got him convinced? He's got him on the TB12 routine.
Yeah.
So he's doing everything.
He's not lifting as much. He's getting older and he's been hurt. He had that Liz Frank injury.
Exactly.
And he's just staying limber. Doc Garrett talks about this all the time. The older you get, that's cool. You want to lift weights? You should. Eat protein, lift weights, but staying flexible as you get older is the key to everything. And that's like rule number 1 in the Scientology church of TB12.
Yeah,
which I'm a subscriber to.
Sure,
absolutely.
Not bashing, but regardless, that I think I completely, dismissed that addition when it happened as anything that would be monumental to their title chances, and he fits in quite nicely in that offensive machine they have with Mike Evans on the other side.
I'm glad that Dallas played Tampa Bay again because gave me a chance to watch another Tom Brady game. I don't get a chance to see. I haven't seen a lot of Tom's games over the years playing in the AFC. Making 3.5, 4 hours every weekend for the Cowboys, doing postgame shows and shit, and having radio shows that are all about Dallas. And so I know they'll get to see a lot of Brady games into the playoffs. It's it was a pleasure to watch that dude play the game. Man, he's just so fucking good. And back to Collinsworth. letting on that I could tell that he knows more about Tom than we know. Collinsworth defended him. Well, it's what he does. It's what he wants to do, and people should do what they want to do, no matter how old they are. That was a message to his old lady. Hey, chill out. If y'all might be married till y'all are 80. You'll have 40 years with Tommy after he's done playing, but he's still playing. So ride it out. He's Tom effing Brady. He wants to keep playing. Fuck, he threw for 4,500 yards last year at 44.
Led the league.
Let him keep playing. Yeah. So I thought that was funny. All right. Let's not shoot our wad. It's been over an hour. We got 3 more hours of this crap tomorrow. And I got to get a Manu segment in. We got to get a Quinn Ewers segment in. We won't have time for a whole lot else. Great sports weekend. I guess we can bag on the Aggies. That'll be fun. Take 5 minutes and do that. Everybody loves to do that. God. But primarily tomorrow on iHeartRadio, we'll know more about Dak, probably the details of what's going on with him. He needs thumb/hand surgery. It may be like that. Maybe the base of his, maybe technically the hand, because they were like touching it. They were touching it like right in here, I guess.
Either way, I can't imagine any kind of surgery on his throwing hand, especially at that location, thumb or behind it. That's got a minimum 4 to 6 weeks, minimum.
Sure, yeah. So we'll have details on that. God knows
probably
the rest
6
of the
fallout.
to 8. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what's up with Curse, but we're going to bag on them, and we're not going to, even though it's Groundhog Day once again. I thought we had gone past this. Jones is fucking up everything, but we have not. We're right back to square one.
We're back to the Brandon Weeden days.
What you saw tonight was right back to the bottom because of an ownership group that absolutely refuses to do what it takes to do to win. All right, it's getting late for me. It's pushing 7 o'clock here in the hellscape. My kids are outside on the balcony, and I got to make dinner. So, and you got to get home. I hope you don't seem hammered. You probably couldn't have gotten drunk tonight if you wanted to. You're probably just sobered by how awful the game was.
I reverse ordered it. We did a shit ton of day drinking, and then I laid off during the game itself.
Oh, that a boy. Take a little nap and get up and do it all. Yeah. All right. Exactly. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning into this first one. We will do this after every game, no matter who the quarterback's going to be. It'll be Cooper Rush next week against Cincinnati. So we'll do radio tomorrow. We don't have any Mike Taylor lives this week. LG's got another porn convention out in Florida. So we won't do another Mike Taylor live until a week from Tuesday. But we got radio tomorrow, of course. And then next Sunday, it's a 3:30 kickoff with Cincinnati, and we'll be on a lot earlier in the day. So for everybody, appreciate it. Thanks to LG. Thanks to Puma. We'll see you boys back on this show 1 week from today after the Cincinnati game. You love your heart. We'll see you on the radio or we'll see you on TV. Thank you, man.